Welcome to The Explainer. Today we are getting into something huge, a question almost every Indian asks at some point. Should I rent or should I buy a home?
Yeah, it's a really high-stakes question, right? Property prices are just soaring, rental markets are all over the place, so how on earth do you make the right call? For the longest time, this decision was all about emotion, just gut feelings and pure guesswork. And that often leads to some serious buyer's remorse. But now, it's a whole new ballgame. We've got these incredible digital tools that are completely changing how we approach this, moving us away from just guesstimating and into making real data-driven decisions that you can actually feel good about.
All right, so let's really get into this great Indian dilemma. The heart of the problem is pretty straightforward. Property prices in a lot of our cities are just skyrocketing, way faster than our salaries are growing. And it's not just about that final sticker shock. It's about trying to find your way through this super complex market where one wrong move, it can feel totally overwhelming.
So how do we push back against all that guesswork? Look, there's no magic button that just says buy or rent. The real solution is a much smarter process. It's all about using data to get some clarity, to sort of light up the path ahead so you can make a choice you're genuinely confident about.
Okay, so what's inside this modern financial toolkit? Let's pop the hood and take a look at the essential digital tools that can help you break down your options like an absolute pro. We're talking about replacing those vague gut feelings with solid, hard numbers. First up, we've got the big one, the rent versus buy calculator. You can think of this as the core engine driving your whole decision. It is absolutely the starting line for comparing these two very different paths. Now, this is where it gets really powerful. These modern calculators, they go so far beyond just a simple rent versus EMI comparison. They actually model how your wealth could grow over decades. They look at things like property appreciation, sure, but they also consider the opportunity cost. What if you rented and invested that huge down payment instead? This helps you find what's called a break-even point. That moment, maybe 8 to 15 years down the line, where owning a home finally starts to make more financial sense than renting. But wait a second. Before you even start comparing options, you got to know what's actually on the table for you, right? That's where home affordability tools come into play. They're designed to cut right through all the dreams and emotions and give you a dose of reality by showing you what you can actually afford.
And this is so crucial. The whole point of these tools is to stop you from stretching yourself too thin financially. They're there to make sure your home becomes a source of security and comfort, not a constant source of stress.
And let's be real, especially for first-time buyers, the hidden costs can be a massive shock. I'm talking about things like stamp duty and registration fees. These specialized calculators break all that stuff down into simple, manageable steps, making sure every single rupee is accounted for, no surprises.
Okay, so analyzing today's costs. That's just half the story. The really great tools, they take it a step further. They help you peer into your financial future by simulating the long-term outcomes of whatever choice you make.
Yeah, think of it like a personalized, data-powered financial roadmap. These tools are running simulations for your life, 10, 20, even 30 years from now. They're projecting everything, from how much your rent might go up to how much that money you save by renting could grow if you invest it wisely.
And here's a great way to see that outcome. You can literally get a visual comparison of the potential wealth you could build by buying a house versus the wealth you could build by renting and investing that difference. It just makes the long-term impact crystal clear.
All right, now let's talk about the ultimate level up. This is where we integrate all of these tools into one single intelligent system powered by AI. And believe me, this is where decision-making gets really personal. So what's the big deal with AI? Well, the key word is dynamic. A basic calculator just crunches the numbers you give it. Same input, same output every time. But these AI platforms, they learn, they adapt, and they give you advice that's tailored specifically to your life, your situation, your goals. So what does that actually mean for you? It means you get a recommendation that's looking at everything. We're talking about real estate trends in your specific city, your personal financial health, current interest rates, and even your lifestyle. Like, do you need flexibility? It connects all of those dots to point you down the right path for you. And the whole idea behind these advanced platforms is to bring everything together into one smooth, seamless process. So you can go from checking your affordability, to comparing different outcomes, to evaluating investment returns, all in one spot. No more juggling a dozen different spreadsheets and websites. So at the end of the day, why does any of this matter? Here's the big takeaway. You now have the power to take one of the most stressful decisions you'll ever make and turn it into a structured, confident choice. You can finally see the long-term financial picture in high definition, which lets you really weigh the security of owning a home against the freedom and flexibility of renting.
Look, these tools are amazing at giving you financial clarity. They lay out the numbers for you. But the final call, that's also about the kind of life you want to live. And that's the real power here. These tools don't make the decision for you. They empower you to choose your lifestyle with your eyes wide open, fully backed by data, not just a hunch.